when we talking Airbnb, right? The first spot, the first place that you need to start is the who, what, when, why, and how, right? Who? It's going to be you. You're going to be starting Airbnb, right? And the one thing that you need to realize when you're starting Airbnb, again, as I've been saying before, this is a business, right? So you need to make sure that you have the funds available, because you got to cover your lease. Like, unless you're buying a home, most people are doing what's called rental arbitrage, where you're renting, you're getting a sublease in place where you rent an apartment and you make sure on your lease you have a sublease agreement with the landlord, making sure that you're legally able to sublease to other people. That's how you do the Airbnb. So now they had the costs involved. You got to pay for your lease, you got to pay for your deposit, you got to pay for your utilities, you got to pay to furnish it, and if you offer anything else like put food in there, stuff like that, you got to pay for that, as well as it's safe to say you need to have at least a month in reserve, because when you get the Airbnb finally online, you might not be getting any traffic, no hits, so you got to make that money. So that's the who, you, and that's what you need to do. Why you need to do it? Simple. If you don't do it, you won't have a business, right? When? That's a good question, right? You got to think when you want to start, right? So ideally, you want to set aside your funds and when you have time, because trust me, Airbnb is very time consuming when you first starting it, because when you first start, you got to put together stuff. You got to take pictures. You're probably going to be the one that's cleaning it unless you have a little extra money set aside for a cleaning person to come in between. Let's see, we did the who, we did the when, we did the why. Where? That's the key thing. The where, right? Where you set up your Airbnb is so important, because as you heard many times in real estate, location, location, location. That is always the key. So now when I say location, you got to ask yourself, who do you want to cater your Airbnb to and for what, right? For example, in the Houston area, right, we got different areas. For example, if I get an Airbnb in the downtown area, I know it's going to be for usually all the people, the visitors that we have down here, people that's going to these different events and things like that, and a lot of people want to be in the downtown area.